So again, it's my prayer that God Himself would open our minds and speak to us even as the lecture comes. He's going to touch certain strings. But like I said before, the natural male or the natural man and the natural woman is corrupt or flawed, and we have certain traits. And the aim of this talk is for you to be informed in order to be transformed. That's the aim. So some of the things I will say will be very unique information to you. Others will be very, very painful information to you because I'm not here to flatter anybody's ego. But at the end of the day, all that I want to tell you is that whatever comes, be informed to be transformed. Amen. So, the realities of male and female interactions. So, from the beginning, the very first talk, I talked about the curse, right? So, I don't have to talk about this here again. I said, in summary, because of the Genesis curse of man, everything has turned upside down. And since then, there are certain inherent nature of human beings, greed, vanity, vanity, selfishness, envy, and all manner of things. See, okuku seku. We have all manner of proverbs to say how dangerous man is. But I'm not talking about somebody. I'm talking about me. And I'm talking about you. And until you are able to handle that aspect of you and stop pretending as if you are the special one out of us. I'm talking about, see, all of us were cut from the same cloth. We are all prone to envy, to hatred, to bitterness, to selfishness. We are all prone to it. But the degree to which we are prone is the level of your character. We are going to talk about certain things. In this case, we are going to talk mostly about in terms of the interaction between men and women and how, because of that case, we are so flawed and the problems that come about. And the way I'm going to reveal certain things, and as I reveal them, I want them to change you. Take note of the aspects I'll talk about men, the aspects I'll talk about women, and take them as they are. And be mindful of them. Okay, I'll skip this one too. Okay, so the first thing I'll talk about is sexual versus non-sexual attention. One thing I want us to understand is that the whole relationship between men and women is flawed. We like to think of it as some magical thing that we call romance. And they lived happily ever after. And Romeo loved Juliet, and Cinderella. We've read those stories. You know, it's just beautiful when maybe you meet a young lady or a young gentleman and you like the person so much and you're in love and you are hoping that your union was made in heaven. That's spiritual lure. Wow, it's a wonderful thing, is it not? Who doesn't think it's a wonderful thing? It's a beautiful thing. Just beautiful. But there's a transactional aspect of male-female interaction. The issue with the romantic aspect is that it leads you to becoming so fantastical that you let go of reality. There is a transactional part of the interaction between men and women. And that's what I'm talking about, sexual and non-sexual attention. Men are seeking for some kind of sexual attention from women, and women are mainly seeking for non-sexual attention from men. And it's a transaction. So all that a young man is doing is to get some sexual attention. Let me put it this way for you. If a young man meets a young woman, and he is pursuing the young woman is going to demand a lot of non-sexual attention from the young man. So, take me out, do this for me. If you do this, that means you love me. So it's a non-sexual attention. But generally, because the man's sexuality is very, very, very strong and high, the natural man is looking for sexual attention from the woman. And it becomes a transaction. I'm talking about on the ground things. I'm not talking about fantastical things here. Where if the young man is not getting the amount of sexual attention that he wants, to him, he is losing. If the young woman gives just sexual attention to a young man and is not getting any amount of sexual attention, she's wasting her time. That is the world that we live in. I wish I could talk more on this one, but we don't have time. Secondly, these are some randoms I want to talk about. I think as we move on, those things may come in. Your life is not an experiment. I like to say this thing a lot. Your life is not an experiment. In this case, I'm talking about, it's not an experiment in general, but in this case, because we're talking about male and female interactions, I want to tell you that your life is not an experiment for you to be experimenting with relationships. I don't know if you get where I'm trying to come from. To the world, it's about, relationship, this is my boyfriend, this is my girlfriend. Then you enter one, you get out, you enter two, you get out, you enter three, you get out. Yes, you are mastering, or like class 1, class 2, class. You are mastering how to divorce. You see, you are practicing how to enter a relationship and leave. Then later on, you get married, and now you see that you are stuck. And because you cannot get out now, then there's trouble. You have to adapt. Because you've learned that, I think I'm a frame. You think you are doing someone. You are learning something. That's what you are learning. Stop experimenting with your relationships. You are sexual or we are sexual beings. And it's good. It's a wonderful thing. God Himself created us to be sexual beings. And it's in His own pleasure to make us sexual beings. But that doesn't mean that young man, any young lady that you see that you are attracted to now, then direction. That's where you are moving to. You just want to enter a relationship, or you want to touch it, you want to bite. And young woman too, you are so obsessed with relationship to the extent that you just have to be entering relationship every time. You want someone, you want to have a boyfriend, you want to have a girlfriend. You're not doing anybody. Yeah, that's why we have this culture of exes in our current society. You go to Facebook, people are talking about their ex, and nobody talks good about their ex. Meanwhile, the time that they were together, my boyfriend is this. As soon as they finish, then it becomes bitterness. And because of that experience you had, you've lost your innocence. And you've now created certain, how do I call it, philosophies. You now start creating certain philosophies, and you become so bitter and hardened inside. And the next relationship you are going to enter it without wound. Who did it to you? It's me. I'm the one who did it to you. Stop experimenting with your life. You do it to your own detriment. The problem that we have is that because you're not directed by God, the only other option we have is to experiment. I don't know if you get where I'm coming from. Because, we are human beings, we are limited. You don't know whom you are going to marry tomorrow. You don't know what will happen tomorrow, sir. You don't know whether it will rain tomorrow or next week. What will happen? You will meet this person in town. You don't know. So what do? You experiment. If you knew, would you have experimented? You don't. Be led by the Spirit of God. Then you don't have to experiment. I don't know if somebody is understanding where I'm coming from. Be led by the Spirit of God, and you have to experiment. Because if you don't know if you have to enter a relationship with this guy or this girl, as soon as you see that person, you say, I don't know, maybe I like her, I like him. Let me try. If you knew that in the next 2-3 months, the guy or the lady is going to just have sex with you or use your money or talk to your money or whatever, then leave you for and sleep with your friend, would you have entered? Stop experimenting with your life and be led by godly directions. You don't have to rush, you don't have to follow the ways of the world. Be our boyfriend. Oh. I've spoken to many people. This young lady was telling me about the fact that she entered a personal relationship and because all her friends were with boyfriends and she didn't have a boyfriend, so she also had to enter so that she would belong and everything, but she didn't really want to enter. Some funny. What is wrong with us? Then now you enter, then now when you are talking about that relationship, bitterness, and you now create some concept and something inside of you that you are going to use it to enter the next one. You go and gather another one, the bitter experiences there, put it in your pocket, enter the next one. Your life is not an experiment. Guard your heart with all diligence. In this relation, all these things I'm talking about, they can relate to other areas of life, but you're talking about male and female interactions. So guard your heart with all what? Diligence. The book of Proverbs tells us. Because out of it comes what? The issues of life. Where is your heart? And what does it mean? Your heart determines, when we talk about that in the Bible or generally, we are talking about your desires, your passion, what you love and what you hate. Your priorities, what you think is important and what you don't think is important. What gets you emotional. And how do you guard a house? Of course, we are in a hotel, right? You can see the gates there, right, from outside. If I give you your job that I want to be my security man, guard my house, where would you stand? We stand at entrances to guard. So what are the entrances to the heart? When the Bible tells you to guard your heart with all diligence, then as a gateman, if you are working diligently, how do you work diligently? You will be guarding, so that means the gate will be your main place you are looking. And from that time you check the wall, check behind. You are looking, you are diligent, you are seeking out. So to guard your heart with all diligence, the gates to the heart you have to be conscious. Your eyes. It's a gate to your eye, to your heart. All the entrances to your body are gates. That's why there are the places that you can easily catch an infection. If it enters through your mouth, it's entering your body, enters through your nose, you can get a cold or whatever, enters through your eyes, a conjunctivitis or whatever. They are entrances. In the same way, some of the entrances are like your eyes, your ears. What are you listening to? What are you looking at? What are you looking at? What are you smelling? When we reach the part where we talk a little about seduction, you guess where I'm coming from. What I'm saying here is that these entrances are not just entrances. When they enter, they will taint you and they will influence your decision. That's why a young lady can come and sit beside you when she's wearing a very sweet perfume. And that perfume alone can draw your attention to her. Because our senses are interconnected. I think our very first man conference, I mentioned something like that. Our senses are interconnected. That's why maybe your mother is cooking the kitchen, you smell it. What happens? You want to go and see what is happening. So then you move straight to the kitchen, and you see the chicken. Wow, chicken. Then all of a sudden, your taste buds starts producing saliva. Your taste buds becomes sensitive. Saliva becomes producing saliva. You want to taste it. Then what else? Now you want to move. Your hand is moving. You want to touch. That is how your senses are connected. So when you smell it, now you want to touch. When you start listening to what he's telling you, or you keep on reading that love letter again and again, you think you are doing something. Love letter is a dangerous thing, young ladies. Be careful of love letter. If you don't read it. And the funny thing about love letter is that it's a dangerous thing. The person who writes it, unlike maybe the person talking to you, say, I don't want to talk to you. It's a different thing. But a love letter is such that the letter is so sweet that you want to go and read it again. And the more you read it, and the more the person starts entering your heart. Because you are opening the gate for something to enter. your eyes. You are looking. Charlie, look at this body. Where? Body near there. You are looking at the body again, again, again. It's going to enter you. And you start lasting, and you start now going deeper. Guard your heart with what? All this. So you have to be conscious and know that, this thing, flee. Make certain efforts. I want you to remember your past. All the relationships you all the things that you do. It's because you didn't guard your heart. Things don't just happen. The world is ruled by principles. It has to enter somewhere before it enters your heart. Do you get where I'm coming from? Maybe you look too much, or you listen too much, or you thought about it too much. Before you can even think about it, it has to enter somewhere. Okay, so we'll talk a little about seduction. Hey, time. So we don't have much time for this one, so I don't think I'll talk so much about it. Okay. The reason why I want to talk a little about seduction is that it's something we encounter in our day-to-day life. And we don't even realize what is happening to us. Satan himself is a king of seduction. To seduce means to lead astray. Say, Tetteh, to lead astray. What do I mean by seduction? To seduce is to convince, to persuade. And these are things that we meet in our day-to-day life activities. For instance, first and foremost, I'll talk about interest and desire. What's the difference between interest and desire? The way I will describe it is this way. You enter a bus, young man or young woman, and you see this young lady or this young gentleman, and the person looks so good. So, wow, Charlie, girl, here for why? And there and then you are lasting after her, right? And in your mind, wow, girl, Charlie, something must be what they are saying. Or you are admiring this lady in question. You are interested. But then maybe for one reason or the other, you got out of the bus and you went home. 2-3 days later, if I ask you that, you don't even remember the person again. You've forgotten about it. You've forgotten that you met someone like that. Why? Because you were interested. You didn't desire. Or you go to church every Sunday and there's one person that you meet there, a lady or a gentleman there, that you really like this gentleman. Every Sunday when you go, you like him and you are interested. But from Monday to Saturday, you don't really think about him. You are interested, you're not desiring. I guess where I'm coming from. Desire is when in your secret place. That's when now you realize that you move from this interest to desire. So in your secret place now, of course, you meet him every time at work or at school or whatever. But you realize that when you are not even around that person, you are still thinking about that person. I get where I'm coming from. It doesn't just happen. Something has happened to you. You've been seduced. You're laughing. And it doesn't just happen. It's not a coincidence that such things happen. Something about a person has touched you. Like I used from the beginning. Let's look at a Trojan horse. Who knows the story of Troy? You know the story of Troy, right? I think I've mentioned it some of you before. Helen of Troy. It's a there's a movie about it where Troy was a city, very rich city, and their prince, they went to settle a war deal. They were going to fight another nation, and their king sent them to go and make peace. When they made peace, everything was all right. When they were coming back, 2 princes were sent. The younger prince was, what's the name? Paris, yeah. When they were coming back, by the time they were on their way coming, then the older brother realized that the younger brother was going to steal the queen. When he got there, he started feeling attraction to the queen, and there was a mutual attraction between them. So he was able to convince the lady and run the lady from that city. We went to make peace, so last time and they brought the lady back. And I was like, what did you do? We went to make peace, you're going to steal a queen. So he said something, but the brother said, no, we're not saying anything back. Because of that, there was a war between Troy and that particular nation. Because the king told them that bring my queen. And Paris was like, no, father, told the father, brother, no, we are not saying this lady. Because of a woman. There was a war that destroyed the whole of Troy. And the Troy was very strong. It's not like the people were strong, but it was a built system that the walls were strong. The gates were strong, so the people were not able to enter. The Greeks said that they weren't able to enter. They stood at the gate, they couldn't enter. So they had to trick them. What they did was that they convinced them that, oh, we don't want to fight you anymore. So we want to give you a gift to show that we want to fight you. So they built something like a horse with wood. And they told them, oh, we'll send a few of our people to push the horse in. So they stood behind the wall, they looked, oh, if people are pushing it. They said, we can bring it, thank you very much. So they pushed it in and they left. Everything changed. Not knowing there were people in the wooden structure. And at night, they got out of the wooden structure, opened the gates from the inside, and Troy was destroyed. The Trojan horse. That is how you be seduced. Indirectly. I don't know if you are getting. You don't know what's happening to you. The thing comes as if, oh, we are friends. Oh, it's normal. Like you don't see what is happening, but you are going to be entered. So something is going to happen. And because of that thing that's happened, your mind has been entered. And you are going to think, why did she do this? You might even get angry. But your mind has been entered. I don't know if you go what I'm trying to say. Your mind has been entered. And because you are thinking about it, what will happen? With time, it will enter your heart. That's where interest moves to desire. Interest moves to desire by, for example, let's look at mixed signals. I don't have much time to talk about all those things. Mixed signals. You meet this young man, he's a very, very quiet, shy kind of guy. And you find out, oh, he's so quiet, he's so this or whatever. So you like that aspect of him, right? And all of a sudden, in your conversation with him, you started seeing another side of him, where you realize I can say certain funny, crazy things and all that. It's depth. There's a contradiction there, so you have to think. You are confused. I don't think I'm trying to say. So you have more to think about when you go home. How can somebody? So that means your interest now starts moving to desire. How can somebody who is so quiet like that? I want you to look into your past. You always saw something contradiction. Maybe this person is like this, but like that too. How can somebody who is like this be like that? So you are now caught in with mystery, the mystery of the person. You want to figure out how can somebody who is like that be like this. The person has entered your mind. Are you getting it? I want to simplify everything so that we'll get where I'm coming from. The person has entered your mind. Or a young lady who looks so beautiful, she looks so innocent, and at the same time, she's very flirtatious. Young man, you understand where I'm coming from? It's very, very seductive because you are just wondering how can somebody who is so innocent be such like bad or naughty like that? So your mind is caught in with fantasy. That is where the interest will now switch to the desire. So maybe in the initial interaction, a person's looks alone cannot get you to the desires of a person that easily. It takes more about the person's behavior to catch you in. Are you getting where I'm coming from? It takes more about the person's behavior than their looks to catch you in. Okay, we don't have much time. Let me read the things I have at hand. So, the realities of male-female interaction, the introductory part of it. If we have time at the end, I'll come back to it again. But when we are talking about the second, the one I'll talk to the ladies alone and the gentlemen alone, I'll still come back to the seduction again. A certain aspect of it I'll talk about there again. Idealized traditionalism. So this one I've written it out and I'll read it out for you. By seeing only what we are made to see, most people idealize their parents' marriages as noble, just as they were made to perceive. Of course, we do not know the details, and all the answers are in the details. When we see married people or people who are married, or if we look at our parents, They show us a facet. They show us what they want us. They don't want us to see certain things about them. So when we see them, they're all going out up and down, they are married, and they join, they pay our fees, and they talk to each other. Like everything is all right at home. That's what you would see. Of course, you don't know the details. And all the answers are where? In the details. They don't know what their fathers felt inside as a man and what their mothers felt inside as a woman. The disappointments and demoralization over the years, the unfulfillment and dissatisfaction, the frequent fantasizing, etc. Let us take fantasy out of relationships, and nobody will be disillusioned or disappointed. It's not about the ideals of an individual, but rather reality. If a man claims that his ideals are the same as that of a woman, then he's either insincere or does not know any better. Because he has been indoctrinated since birth. It is easy to be deceived by idealism and denial into believing that someone is not what you think, or think that someone will become what you want them to be. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm talking to us as young men and women here. Maybe you meet someone and you are seeing things, but because of idealism or fantasy, because we need fantasy, don't we need it? You cannot go out with a lady or a gentleman if you don't have fantasy. You have to think in your mind that wow, this I love this lady. She's so wonderful. She's so good, and we have such a wonderful. Our match was made in heaven, or whatever. Those kind of things. And she understands me. And I don't like her only because she's beauty. She has. Oh, my friend, stop that jokes. I get where I'm coming from. So it's easy to be deceived by this and deny to believe that someone is not what you think, or think that someone will become what you want them to be. So you are seeing the obvious, but you are hoping that they will become what you want them to be, because what you are being idealistic. That means I'm saying that you are being what? Romantic. Romantic is the same as idealistic. What I mean is that you are looking at a perfect picture of how wonderful the two of you. When you talk about romance, you're talking about like a perfect picture where the two of you, that's when you are arranging for romance. You're looking at a perfect table, the flowers are arranged very well around. I get where I'm coming from. It's a beautiful thing, is it not? But I'm saying that it's easy to be deceived by you caught up with so much fantasy that you are now trying to believe that what I'm seeing is not what it is. I get where I'm coming from. Or what it is will change with time. We are blinded by our own idealism just because someone gave us complete, non-judgmental acceptance. I guess where I'm coming from. Like I said, the human being is flawed, male and female. I'm going to be mentioning things. As I mention them, take them as they are. A woman would allow her want to cloud her judgment. She would invariably choose very badly, dismissing whoever makes her accountable and accepting or embracing inferiority in a partner just because of his appearing non-judgmentalism. Ladies, am I talking something? Yeah. Women function out of fear and based on their insecurities. The signs will be there, but we will ignore them due to our idealism. Timing, willingness, and finances may be there when you choose your partner, but true substance and sincerity will not be there, which you would ignore. Material possessions and gifts will put a large bandage on the voice that will be her dance. They will keep her contained until she can bear it no longer, when she realizes that her life is nothing but a fraud. The male, on the other hand, has an ideal archetype of who the perfect woman is. Her style, demeanor, less susceptible to addictions, more rational, and much more moral. So a man has a fantasy of this perfect woman. who is very innocent, she's clean. Oh, like Ben Akai, oh, I don't want to laugh too much today. Oh, Ben Akai. So she's supposed to be angelic, innocent. Gentlemen, am I saying something? Okay, well, instead of a gentleman, I cannot only induce or perceive. I cannot only get it for what it is, but I am speaking what experientially. So, more rational, much more moral. She's supposed to be angelic, innocent, benevolent, morally clean, and capable of no malice. The male is intent to want to desperately believe in this lie of the female archetype as part of his ultimate self-deception and perverse sexual fantasy. From the beginning, when we talk about the first talk, I mentioned some traits of men about the male ego, the male need for dominance, and the male sex drive, variety, and all those things. And this fits in perfectly to the male sense of dominance. And because of that, man or a male wants to believe in this archetype because it fits perfectly into his need to dominate. So if the woman is so submissive and she will do, she's not like that, and she, then that means you can dominate. And that is the male's fantasy that is so intense to believe. The signs will be there, but both the male and the female will ignore them because of their idealism. So the female doesn't want to be judged. So when she meets a guy who will not judge her, that's where she'll go. As soon as you try to point out, if a man and you are judgmental, or you try to, no. Initially, she might think, oh, you are cool, or you are that, or you are that. But as soon as you realize that you are judgmental, you will not fit into the bill. She wants someone who is compliant. And somebody who will not judge her. Perfect imperfections. I end it there. Then, because of that, she's going to meet someone who is a fraud. Ladies, I'll talk to you when you get to yours. I'll talk about that particular aspect when we get to just talking to the ladies. Someone who's a fraud who comes in and pretends. Me, I'm not like that. I don't look at any other woman. No, I'm not like, how can a guy even do that? I'm telling you, it's like that. He's the chief of all the guys who do that. I know him, he's our president. No guy is not like that. Stop, because you want to believe that, your idealism or your fantasies about having a guy who doesn't do that. Let's go on. I'm saying no guy is not like that. The natural man is like that. No guy is not like that. The signs will be there, but both the male and the female would ignore them because of their idealism. The universal male religion, so men have a religion, and it's a faith in the female savior who will simultaneously nurture but also submit to the male and wishfully his nature. So the man's religion is not a female who will nurture. You have that, at the same time, what the woman, apart from nature, the woman will be what? Submissive. That's the male's fantasy in his head. Young man, are you there? I think we have some married men behind, so I think we are getting it in. Maybe you might be getting it in the second dimension, but they are getting it in the third dimension. So that is your fantasy. And you want him to even wishfully to your nature as a man. The male is the author of this female deity, which does not exist. And anyone who tries to take away his religion is attacked, understandably. Of course, whichever religion you have, whether you're a Christian or a Muslim or a traditional, when somebody talks about religion in the negative light, you attack. Religion is something that is very, very deep-rooted. It's a matter of life and death. That when somebody is saying that, there's nothing, there's no Muhammad, or your religion is a fraud, it's not. You want to know what do you mean by that? And the man has created this religion for himself. And when I'm trying to take it, he doesn't want me to take it. So he's going to attack me. So not all women are like that. There are some women who are very no. This nonsensical, intentional, and stubborn desire of the male to believe in this false deity is the downfall of all males universally. Male crashing. You know what male crashing is? Young man, have you been crashed before? Because of male nature, you've been crashed before. I can put all my money in my pocket on it. Because you're a man, you've been crashed before. No man. Unless maybe you were born and when you were born there's no woman there or it's never that. No man. No. You've been crashed. Or can somebody come and take my money? You ask myself, why am I so sure? Because I'm telling you, when you see a rat and you see a cat, you say this will be a chasing somewhere. That's how sure I am. I'm telling you, because of your low nature, your sex drive, your need, your ego, and all those things, you've been crashed before. I think you cannot say anything. Let's go on. So, male crashing, which is comprised of both overwhelming disappointment and humiliation, summed up as incremental, complete, and consistent repeated disillusionment, awaits the male when he realizes that the female falls quite short and actually emerges as the opposite of a public representation. And this will incrementally become evident to the male in any relationship. This is called the female deconstruction of the male's illusion. So what I'm saying is that the man is holding on to his religion. And he's saying, no way. My deity, the perfect female archetype, she will be submissive and she will nurture me. And everything will be all right and we will live happily ever after. And yes, I'm the man in the house and when I say so. Then the male enters a relationship and realizes that it can't shoot nothing. It's a battleship. There's going to be a battle because of what? The curse. I'm not saying there may be a battle. I'm saying there's going to be. As far as a natural man and a natural woman is concerned. So your expectations or your demands that you use to enter were purely rooted in fantasy and idealism, and you threw reality under the bus. But reality is reality. It's as palpable as this computer like I'm touching here. It's going to what? Happen. The female is needed by the male to give him the ultimate validation of his masculinity. That is the power the female has over the male. I'll talk about this more, so I don't want to dwell on it. Second, male nutrition. Let's take a look at the association between the nutritional factors within any relationship as it pertains to the male and its emotional fulfillment. I want you to listen to this, especially the women. Encompassed or within a man's fulfillment is his self-confidence, his dignity, self-worth, self-respect, motivational level, masculinity, and his status within the male contingent, his sexual functioning, and his complete self-identity. All those things are within the male fulfillment. As I move on, you understand better. What I'm saying is that in a relationship or in any interaction with a female, the male has to have nutrition. You understand what I'm talking about? Can you live without nutrition? You need to eat every day, or at least you have to take in some food to sustain you. And I'm saying that there are certain things that is a man's nutrition as far as his interaction with a woman is concerned. And the things I mentioned about a man's self-worth, his dignity, his self-confidence, all those things are related or are born out of that nutrition that he receives from the female. That is, a man needs a woman confirmation, or as I put it, validation. What is validation? If I have a file here or a document here and I tell you to validate it for me, that means that I want you to stamp it or put something on it or a signature on it that shows that it's confirmed or it's approved, like it's something. I'm telling that a man needs a woman validation or confirmation for a woman that what he is a what man. Let's move on. You understand what I'm saying better? The more naive the man is, the more compelled he feels to receive directly from females and not from within or from any external source. A relationship without nutrition is a relationship without sustenance, since the male extracts much of his identity from female validation. The nutrition he obtains from a relationship or receives directly from the female is directly instrumental in defining who he is as a man. And men are desperate for this validation and are led to believe that their whole masculinity is displayed by their success with what? Women. So this is how important this nutrition is. It's so important to the extent that a man feels that his whole manhood or masculinity is displayed by what? His success with women. That's why a young man, when he's not doing very well and he's not getting validation, women liking or desiring him, he's not happy. It's going to affect his self-worth, his dignity, his self-confidence, even amongst his male hierarchy or his male boys. Men are desperate for validation. Masculinity is defined and validated as to what positive effects a man can have on a woman, as to how adequately a man can satisfy a woman on many different levels. So a man describes or defines his masculinity or his manhood as to the kind of effect he can have on a woman. That is, as to the degree to which he can satisfy a woman, be it sexually, financially, emotionally. That's how a man defines his masculinity. The sole purpose is to make a woman happy. And that's what society tells him. A woman doesn't define her femininity on how adequately she can satisfy a man. That's the tragedy of being a man. Female validation also defines the stature of men in the presence of other men. So amongst other men, the amount of or the variety and frequency of female validation that a man is receiving, me and Charlie, will determine the amount of respect he gets even amongst his colleagues. That's how important it is for a man. So in the male contingent or male peer group, the guy who is getting a lot of female attention rates high, independent of any other thing about him. Independent of any other thing about him. So far as he's getting female validation, he's getting nutrition. And he is rated very high. He has a very high social standing. So men are in constant competition for that coveted and finite commodity which is female validation. It has so much value and implication in terms of emotional and social standing, with both internal and external components for the male. In terms of status and validation, is directly related to his female validation level. So internal, as in the way he feels about himself as a man, and external, the way he is seen by others as a man, is in relation to how well he can satisfy a woman. Female validation legitimizes a male within his gender in all of society. Failure to secure this validation conspicuously for all to see results in diminishment and dismissibility of a male, even through male shaming of each other and the denigration within the male gender hierarchy. It's a big deal. And the man's whole concept of himself and his masculinity, his self-confidence, his dignity, his self-worth, his self-esteem is rooted under this. So he becomes dismissible and he becomes diminished amongst his peers. And they will shame him and make him feel as if he's less. The magnitude of female validation defines his station amongst other men in frequency and variety. So the more female validation he gets, as in frequency, the more frequent he gets it. And the more variety, as in the different kind of ladies that give him validation, the more. That's why a guy wants you, like he's standing with his peer group and a lady comes out, hey, and chatting with him and smile with him. It's a big deal. Hey, Charlie, where? Hey, Charlie, what's up? Oh, Charlie. You see, it's a big deal. That is the frequency and the variety aspect I'm talking about. Men need variety and do want variety. A man can be with the most attractive woman and see an average looking woman or even an attractive woman who is bent over by the roadside and still want to sleep with her, forgetting about the gorgeous woman who is sitting beside him. So the man has the beautiful wife who is sitting beside him, he drives at the side. He's driving his car, and all of a sudden he sees another lady who she's picking something on the floor, and she's pointing her backside, and the guy sees, and all of a sudden, and the wife says, "What is wrong with you? What's wrong with you?" Charlie, he's just being a man. And a man who does, I'm saying that's the natural proclivity. I guess where I'm coming from. And Nikan, why are you smiling? That's the natural proneness of a man. A man thirsts and hungers for female validation like a drug. The commodity is female validation in high demand, and men are in competition. It's a source of emotional fulfillment and an increase in self-worth, which comes from the feeling of being desired by a female. Women, are you understanding more things now? By nature, a man gets off from women getting off. Do you understand what I'm saying? So when a man makes a woman happy, he's happy. That's why a man can take 300 cities, go and spread it, and he's happier than you are we sitting there. That's a man. That's how we are created. A man gets off by a woman, and a man realizes his own efficacy and masculinity as a male by monitoring. Listen, a man realizes his efficacy and that's his efficiency and masculinity as a man by monitoring the sexual, intellectual, emotional response of women to him. So he's looking for response or reaction. So as you're talking to him and you are smiling or you are happy or you say, oh, Charlie, as in, you see how men are like, we are doing something, we are lifting this, Charlie, I guess that is man. Female validation. So what we are seeing in society today is a reflection of this, the natural man playing out. That's why a lot of young men are wasting their whole life, their time, their money, their energy, and everything because what they need, they want it. It's like a drug. It's like somebody who's addicted to cocaine. That's how bad it is. He needs his dose in frequency and in variety. If 2 is good, then 4 is better. You get it? So, men aim to make a woman react to them. I'm not talking about a weak man or a strong man. I'm talking about men gaining pleasure from the power that they have over a woman. Men do not just want sex. They want emotional fulfillment that comes from female validation. Sex is just a subset of female validation. It's a bigger picture than just sex. It's just a bigger picture. Sex is just a small part of a bigger picture. Otherwise, a man who knows very well, this lady I'm even doing this for, I'm not going to get any sex from him. But yet he's doing it because the lady is reacting and he's monitoring the reaction already concerning him, and he takes it as nutrition to his ego, his self-esteem. It means something to him, even when sex is not in the picture. But sex validates him too. It's a big validation to a man. A man will risk it all just to get female validation. He will put himself at risk as a living sacrifice, giving all his strength, time, money, energy, be it necessary or not. A man will risk his life, his limb, and soul for the emotional reward of female validation that he can only receive from a female. Female validation is female awarded. How then can it be omnipotent? I'm asking you a question, young man. She decides to give it to you or not, and a man will not receive it necessarily because he deserves it. It could be a false prize. So she could use it as a manipulative tool to get you to do what she wants you to do for her. Well, not you just want to do more. The nutrition to the man in society defines who he is and how he values himself and how he is categorized within society. That's a man. That is, a man is shamed in society because he's not in a relationship. Because it implies that there is no female validation in his life. Even if the relationship is superficial or non-existent, but rather just implied, it will still bring validation from society in comparison to a single man. So as a young single man, you hear it a lot. Hey, we're married. People will tell you that kind of, and it bothers you because what they are trying to tell you is that you don't have female validation. And the more they say it affects you because the female validation they are talking about here means something to you. I guess what I'm talking about. It's a big deal. It's not just about you being single. They are implying that you don't have female validation. And it means something to you. It cuts you right in the middle of your heart. What is wrong with you? So you see, who did this to you? It's me. Deflection in the female. We'll talk later about women, one aspect of women. So we talk about male nutrition, we'll talk about deflection in the female. I want us to listen to it very carefully, both the men and the women. Women don't want to be shamed because they have to maintain a particular kind of image, which is very, very, very important to a woman. The way a woman presents herself and her public image, or how she's seen by the public, is very foremost to her. And because of that, it causes something. If you are here and you are so much concerned about how you are seen, what would it imply? It's going to make you insecure. Because everything you do, you'll be looking at it. What does this person think? How does this person... You see, and it's also going to make you prone to becoming insincere. Because you are concerned about how somebody is seeing you, you have to portray yourself in the way that the person will see you in a good light. Are you getting where I'm coming from? So I'm saying that it all comes down to the way she presents herself and the maintenance of a particular image. And it even transcends even herself as a woman. For instance, there will be times that Nicanor will be home. I'm not there, but I know. Or I can mention anybody. Or Sami will be home. Or Ephraim will be home. And he wants to go out. Then Ephraim, as a young man, doesn't care about anything, just pick some talk or this thing, just going to go. And the mother will call him, Ephraim, where are you going? So I'm going to this. Why are you going that? Go and change that shirt. Ephraim has asked me before. I know. Like I told you, if I see a cat and a rat here, I know something's going to happen. So I'm telling you. Why is she doing that? Because her self-presentation, the maintenance of a public image, transcends even herself. The reason why she's telling that is because she's thinking that in Bipaka and then she's like, the father will say him, but the woman will tell you that go and change your shirt, go and change your shoe. Why? Because self-presentation and public image preservation is paramount to the self-acceptance of a woman. It is the root of female insecurity and the reason for female insincerity. So the insecurity comes in where she will be asking you, am I looking too fat today? Am I some trick question? You don't even know where to ask the house. And then insecurity comes in where because she has to tell you something just to cover something up. She cannot really tell you what it is. Because she wants you to see in a particular way. But the problem or the issue I'm going to face here, especially with the ladies or with the ladies in this particular perspective, is that virtually every woman who is accused or questioned of the less than endearing qualities of a female nature denies being identified and guilty as such and averts incrimination by explaining, some women are like that, but not me. Have you heard that before? Have you said that before, Long Day? Like I told you from the beginning, I wanted to prepare your mind for this particular conference. That's from the beginning I told you that I'm going to say things. Some of them, on both the male side and the female side, will not be too palatable to sound this or that. But if you will take them, they will help you. Have you heard that anyone saying that before? Not all women are like that. Some, but not me. Why? Because she has to maintain an image. She is not like that. But me, I'm not like that. So who is like that? The one is like that. Also, now we identify that person. Who is like? Which woman is like that now? Is to avoid detection. And it even goes further. Those who are married will understand me better. Whatever a woman is accused of, the man has outdone her in magnitude. These things I'm talking about here are male and female nature in their rawness. But unfortunately, when I'm talking to men, I don't have much problem because the difference between men and women is this. One of the differences. Men can separate their thoughts from their feelings. Women find it very difficult. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? That's why men can argue, generally. We can really argue about maybe Man U and Chelsea. We can talk, Chelsea was their team. Now, basta team. You see that kind of thing. They can argue, insult each other, say one of hateful things that maybe if you're saying anything, we never jam in no, maybe Charlie, talking about because after then, the time that we're making that serious argument, so really we might be actually feeling something deep. There was antagonism there. But we can separate that our thoughts. That's our thoughts from the way we feel. But the problem I'm going to face with you as a woman today is that what I'm telling you now, you might not like it. I guess where I'm coming from. You don't like it. So because you find it difficult to separate your thoughts from your feelings, you associate what you think about it to the way you feel about it. And until a woman, you're able to handle that particular aspect of your life, you're going to worry your husband. Because you know, okay, call it. If a man is going to handle a part of his life where he's going to be in control of his sexuality, and you, a woman, expect him to do that. I'm talking about the pure male nature, and these are the things that cause conflict in male and female interactions. These things, they are flaws and corruptions. So as soon as I say it, she has to deflect and accuse me of being worse. I'm a friend, or it could be arguing with your wife, and you're in a serious argument with her. She has done something or something has gone on. I will talk about men. But when I'm talking about women, stop deflecting and accept it. I don't know if you understand where I'm coming from. But your problem is that you are so much afraid of judgment and shame, such that as soon as I want to talk about women, you just deflect so that you take our mind off and not talk about you again. That's a typical woman. So as soon as you accuse her, she will deflect. She will now start talking about what you also did 6 years ago that was equal. But deflection, does it solve the issue? It does not solve the issue. Young women, I'm currently talking about what? Women. Let's stay there. Let's imagine that there are no men in this world. And they are just women. So let's just stay there. Face the thing. Look into the mirror. Be informed and be transformed and become a better wife. I guess where I'm coming from. That is your natural disposition. She will imply purity and innocence. It's an underpinning of a self-presentation of the contradictory image of innocence and purity and morality. So I'm saying that for the female, her projected image and her self-identity do not match her behavior, her objectives, and her past history. So what I'm saying here is that the image should match whom you are. The problem is that because you've kept on deflecting and deflecting and deflecting again and avoiding shame and detection, you will not change. So the image is this: she's pure, she's clean, she's not like other women, she's good, she's kind, she's that's the image. But this image you're talking about here does not match her behavior. This same pure, kind, innocent, wonderful woman who is the paragon of virtue, her behavior. Are you in my class? The way she talks, you see that arrogance. I'm telling you, and that's why you don't like me. That's the issue I face with women generally. I don't even have to speak it out, but they see it in my attitude. Because I will tell you, but you don't like me. You want the guy who say, oh, me, I don't even look at, me, ain't feeling that kind. Oh, me, oh, Daddy, me, small boy, oh, that's the guy you want. The one who will not judge you, oh, people are not, okay? All your perfect imperfections. That's the guy you want. That guy is a sociopath. He's a pretender. He's not being real. He's doing that because he's manipulating you. He knows you want it. He knows that when Okay, let's say you pay pretended. I don't know if you don't fancy. And you are as soon as after you marry, okay, check again. Okay, I begin to check it. Begin again. I mean, begin again. It more. Begin again. That's what he was already. But you don't want me because I'll tell you the truth. If you call Jimmy, man, ever show Jimmy, you don't want that. You want the person who will not judge you. The person will pretend as if you are the wonderful person. But what I'm saying here is that the behavior, the image you are portraying doesn't match your behavior. That's arrogance. Oh no, this same person that is this kind, benevolence, maybe they buy but and that's the place where men become shocked when we get closer to you. Create image, and we brought into the religion. You know, not getting closer, and you say something. There's a mismatch between the image and the behavior. There's a mismatch between the image and her objectives in life. Me, I want a man who is this and that and that. If you are not this, get. Those are objectives. How can that be much enlightening onto somebody who is kind, benevolent, wonderful? Does that much? And there's a great mismatch between the image and the past history. For that one, I don't have to say. You know yourself. You know yourself. The problem is that like I said in the first talk, if I see a lion chasing an antelope, I will not complain. A lion is supposed to chase an antelope. It doesn't sound good, it doesn't sound fair, but that's what it is. It's instinct. So certain things are there, they are inside of you, and they are playing out. They are not good, but they are to be expected. That is the natural woman. That's the natural woman. But like I began, there's a natural woman, the carnal woman, and the spiritual woman. Which one are you? Something happens to a man in the spirit. And that thing within the spirit just cannot stay in the spirit's man. It has to transcend into the soul. The person starts changing. Their character, their behavior, their instincts start getting affected. They are not envious anymore. They are above it. They are not over it. They are not moved by envy. They are not easily embittered. Something happened. That is what I want to happen to you. I want you to be aware of it and stop the denial. If you don't stop the denial, the battleship is being prepared. We are going to mark the battle lines. If you enter marriage, you are going to struggle. Why? The struggles that we have in marriages are not because of maybe some demons. These things, natural male nature of the man wanting to stand with authority, and all the other aspects of male nature where he wants to have variety and he's not controlling it. And his ego will not accept correction. And the natural female nature of this kind of thing, this deflection and avoiding shame, solely based on image and not reality. Those are the things that play out. It's not a CD. It will play them. If I have okay, gospel music will mean gospel music in Batra. You cannot put gospel music and be listening to Shatawale. It doesn't happen that way. So I'm saying that it's already predicted. I just have to see two people and say that we are going to get married next week. Look at them, and I say, oh, this was going to happen. I can tell you exactly what's going to happen. It's not because when I see a mouse Or I can see a man and a woman, and they are here. They are married for 6 years. I can just watch 1 or 2, 3. I know what is happening in their marriage. The problem with marriage, let me tell you something. You ask me what's my qualification. My qualification is that I've been selected and elected to tell you. And God does things with people that you don't even expect. That's how God does the things. You might be expecting that, oh, maybe the head pastor, he doesn't know. He will not tell you. He doesn't know. I guess where I'm coming from. God doesn't do his things with. God, even in the Bible, he doesn't even choose firstborn. Firstborn are those from right from the beginning. And Jacob and Esau, one or two, three. If he chooses people, God likes putting things in the hands of people that nobody will expect. The people who you don't expect. That's where God likes putting his things. So that's my qualification, if you want to know. I can just tell you. These are the issues and the realities of male and female interactions. They are real. And until we are able to handle them and see them for what they are, women will deflect detection and exposure of their female nature as fabricated and interpreted by only pathological males who are misogynist males who have been traumatized and as a result have become pathological. So this is it. As soon as a man starts trying to say something about the unflattering part of female nature, they say, oh, I mean, you've been hurt, eh? That's what they know. And the man just shuts up because what is being used here is a tactic. It's called shaming tactic. It's like a back kick. And the man will shut up because the man cannot talk. Just simple like that. How can you grow when you do not accept any correction? As soon as you're going to point out something that's wrong with you, then you have to deflect and turn it around and back kick. Deflection. How can you grow? You know, accept things as they are and work towards them. And because of that, look at your track record. I want you to, you yourself, sit down. Use this minute. Look at your track record. I don't want to say this because there are guys here. Look at your track record. The things you've done to guys. Nobody is talking. That's not even talking now. Back kick. Then you keep on because nobody is talking. That's not even back kick. The person is the one with the problem. Just 10 things around the person is the problem. It's not you. How can you grow, young woman, when you cannot accept that there's something wrong with you? I'm coming to a conclusion very soon. I'm feeling it's enough. But I'll just say this one and leave it there. I've been very, very fair to the ladies. But they think I've not been fair. I've been very fair. These are things you never hear. Nobody will tell you. But me, I will tell you. They shouldn't tell you. Let's all pretend as if you like the pretense. Everybody is pretending as if you are wonderful and you are cool. Because you are. Let me tell you a story. I remember in the hospital, there was this story about this young lady who came. She was pregnant. So she had an ectopic pregnancy, but she wasn't aware. When she came to the hospital, we asked her, that young woman, she came with the complaint of there's pain here, and the pain was this, and she was feeling this. It was like, no, this one is possibly an ectopic. So the first question we asked you, are you sexually active? Say, oh no, I'm a virgin. Hey! It sounds funny now, but it wasn't funny. So because of that, we were suspecting, say, maybe it's an ovarian tumor or something. That was what the doctor's mind went to. Okay. So we just say, okay, maybe if she doesn't have sex before, then how can she be pregnant? Then this lady lied there and started bleeding. Say, hey, this might be a topic because she's what heaven, and she said no, she hasn't had sex before. By the time we realized testing blood and doing that, the thing was ectopic. Oh, the woman was gone. This is typical female nature. She just had to maintain an image. Because when they come, we don't. As soon as that's why if you are going to hospital, when you get to hospital, when women come, we don't even ask them. We just whether you are 2 years old, we test for pregnancy because you don't tell her the truth. You don't tell. You want to maintain an image of I'm clean, I'm innocent, I'm this. You don't tell the truth. Young men, are you listening to what I'm saying? She is not innocent. She's a human being. She's a natural woman. The thing you are seeing is a public image. Are you getting where I'm coming from? If you know the things she does and what she has done and what she's capable of doing, you run away from planet Earth. They know themselves. It's an image. Okay, so let me come to avoiding detection of immorality, no accountability. Okay, so let's look at the Bible. If you know the Bible, you realize that Israel is the wife of God. Do you know that? And the church is the bride of Christ. If you read the Old Testament, look at what God was saying to his wife. Look at what God was saying to his wife. In the book of Jeremiah, God told Israel, say, you say that is not true. I have not worshipped the image of Baal. But how can you say that? Go and look into the valleys. That's what Israel was telling God. He said, it's not true, I've not done. Go and look in any valley in the land. Face the awful sin you have done. You are like a restless female camel, desperately searching for a mate. That was the problem that God had with Israel. Deflection. Pretending they didn't want that shame of and the guilt of it. So they always say they didn't do it. Look at what Israel did again. Why do you accuse me of doing wrong? This was God speaking. He was asking Israel, why do you accuse me of doing wrong? You are the one who rebelled. So Israel has rebelled, they have done all their sin, and now God was pointing out to them. They were accusing God that, but God, you also did this and you didn't remind us. You see people playing out here. That's the wife and husband dynamic. Let's look at the third one. I'm not saying things that are strange, I'm telling you truth. It says, only acknowledge your guilt. Look at what God was telling Israel. Admit that you rebelled against the Lord your God and committed adultery against him by worshipping idols under every green tree. Confess that you refuse to listen to my voice. I, the Lord, have spoken. Let's go to Malachi. The book of Malachi is typical. 7 good times Israel was asking God, what have we done wrong? Meaning, but you ask, how have we ever shown contempt for your name? When God was saying that you've shown contempt to my name, and they keep on asking God, what have we done? Look at what they asked God again in Malachi. This is the second one. You have said terrible things about me, says the Lord. And Israel was saying that, but God was saying, but you say, what do you mean? What have we said against you? We will not be able to talk about this one. Maybe another time. God bless you. Our time is fast spent. Okay, so we'll go for a short break then. We'll come back for the next talk.